Hi and welcome. I'm Sharon Martin from Inner Sanctum Studios. I'm a messenger for Gaia, and I'm here to bring you today, hey Debbie, some of the energetic kind of impacts on us because you're probably feeling them rather strongly. I imagine that you are. They're super fast and they are really having an impact on, well, a shake up into bliss, I want to say. Hello, Charlotte. So, yeah, let me begin really by this poem that came in. And I have to tell you, it was the kind of experience I had that really gave me this idea that we were speeding up even more so, because as I was writing it, I was hearing it in my head. It was channeled. And as I was writing it, it was getting faster and faster. And that's why I said to some people I read it to on my forum the other night, I said it came through like a rap. So I'll read it to you. I'm not a rapper, but it had that experience as I was channeling it. So I'll read this to you. There's been a bit of poetry that's come through in the last week. Hello, Denise. And then I'll talk to you about these energies. So in this early morning light, so this came through 2 days ago, feathery image in my sight. I was seeing all this like a big duster, a big old-fashioned duster made of white feathers. It was that kind of image. In this early morning light, feathery image in my sight, light and fluffy, pure white, bringing feelings of delight to my soul. Density continually lifting, bad experiences sifting. In the healing space, I'm shifting, the sounds and music drifting in my soul. I've got things I want to tell you. I'm adrifting in the cellular, dreaming moments of my telomeres, extending segments of molecular for my soul. I can feel it all accelerate. As time and space do oscillate, I'm smiling broadly at the gate, knowing ascension is the ultimate for my soul. Is there consternation running you, worry, doubt consuming too? It's time for these to be put through the fire of transmutation crew for your soul. The river of life is there for you, suspends and clears that floats you to the destination place you drew, already sorted. This is true for your soul. Are you coming? I implore your light to concentrate on learning flight, navigate your journey day and night, coming home to what is right for your soul. So I hope you found that as profound to listen to as you did if you had read it. And thank you, Golden. And hello, Pauline and Carolyn and Golden. And so that came through on the 4th. And then there was this strong feeling that came through about our need to stabilize. So I think that came through the following day, even though I've written here the 3rd of March. I don't know that that's correct. Don't know why I would have written that in that way out of order. So on tuning in anyway, on that sometime in the last couple of days, there was this sense of our needing to connect and center ourselves strongly into Gaia, this whole feeling of stabilizing with our feet really deeply planted and grounded in preparation for another leap, which I feel that we have had, a leap in consciousness. And then this came through, the weavers of the grid lines. So that will be some of you. It's just It's like when I read some of this back, in a lot of ways, it's the first time I'm hearing it. So I hear it, it kind of runs out the end of my pen, and then I read it back to you, and because it's not, it's out loud in my head. But when I'm speaking it to you, it's out loud to my ears. And so there's this sense of me feeling it in my body. Oh, I put mascara on, I can see it sitting. No, it's not. It's sitting on my eyelash. Excuse me. Sorry. Yeah, so I feel emotional about it as I am reading this. The weavers of the grid lines, a wild ride through the cosmos. A lot of riding, sliding and gliding, weaving and stitching the waves together. So that's what I saw was being done, and some of you may have been doing that. The fabrication of the new earthlings, the holy rites for humanity's birthing. You are the essence of your own divinity, blissful, smiling, ecstasy, rocking, holding oneself in eternal embrace, nurturing self through the next up level, the new, the fresh, the upper light, cascading like golden locks of hair over Gaia, and internal fire in the wellspring and for the wellspring of the new seeds and the new season. We're doing lots of kind of refurbishment, refreshment, regeneration, rebirthing, recoding. Yeah, and then I'll read you the other one with about the flowers. So this came through yesterday. How does your garden grow? What flower will you be in the blooming Gaia garden? What visions do you see in humanity's arrival to the new illumined earth? You are the essence of your own divinity, planted with love, watered with the light of God of your own soul. Hi, Billy. What qualities will you hold in the dawning of your own heart? How will you infuse humanity's growth into the wonder of creation of the new, wearing the gossamer gown of the dawn light? What words will be held delicately on your tongue before streaming into the liquid thoughts of others to fertilize the growth of our new way of being in connection with your own internal nature and symbiotic dance with Gaia? So these are all kind of messages and threads that are really related to our leaving the old behind and stepping into the new. But it's even though we've been talking about that, it's again, I want to say sunk, but it's not a dissension, but we've sunk into more nuance of the language. It's very solidifying in the physical, even though, it's an oxymoron. We're going deeper to go higher. We're going more deeply inwards to kind of pull out anything that holds us in the older, and we're doing that through almost this expression of extension, as though we're stretching up into the heavenly realms whilst we are digging ourselves more deeply into the earth. It's like if you think about a one-pointed one terminator crystal that's very pointed, and it's like that's what we're driving into the ground to connect us in. The Gaia crystalline grid lines that have been activated to a higher level, that's impacting on us. So yesterday there was the sensation of, and I've only ever done this once, but it's so weird how it gets brought to me, is this experience that, think popping corn lollies in the mouth. So those are those lollies that explode in the mouth. And I'm not really a lolly eater, but somebody did give me some of those once. And it's the second time that imagery has come through, but they're light, they're explosive, they have that kind of impact on us. This is the effect on the body of the higher dimensional infusion coming into the earth. And I have to tell you that I don't have any measure of this, but I get that we receive these 12 dimensional frequencies like a sprinkling, like us being under a garden hose and someone throwing in some bits of something, some bits of sand, some bits of crystal. It's like that. Oh, so this can have the effect of you moving in and out of your body and in and out of your field as the energies oscillate and you try to find stability in the new and high frequency. So how many of you have been in that experience, as though one minute you're like, oh, I'm good, and the next minute you're like, oh no, I'm wobbly, and then one minute you're feeling blissful, and the next minute you're feeling tuned up in the body. One minute you feel very grounded, and the next minute you feel quite floaty. This is the kind of effect that we are going through, and if you like, you could see that we're all going through it. I want to say that some of us will move through it from left to right, and that some of us will move through it from left to right, and then from left to right, and then from left to right. So some of us will do it. We'll do it in different ways. Is I guess what I'm saying. As the energies oscillate, like I said, and I'll just read that again so you can feel into that when, having been given that imagery. But it's, we've talked about that jumping from one side of the track to the other. Remember, that was something that came through last week. Well, this is like it's like another level of that. So it's like we've been given a whole lot of ways that we can absorb and expand and grow and be activated, catalyzed. And so they have some similarity, these metaphors that I'm being shown. And it's that in this metaphor, this visual metaphor, it's this idea that we may traverse this differently to the person next to us. We may have chosen to do it. It may serve us to do it in different, how I do it may not be the way that serves you to do it. So I'll just read that again and think about that. It's this idea that, like filling up the bath and then adding some Condy's crystals, or, hopping into a fountain and feeling all of that and someone throwing things into it. And you might get bits of it, or you might be in the saturation of it. Hello, Sarah. Yeah, so I'm going to read that again. So think popping corn lollies in the mouth. This is the effect on the body, this higher dimensional infusion coming into the earth. It can have the effect of you moving in and out of the body and in and out of your field as the energies oscillate and you try to find stability in the new and higher frequencies. And it is affecting especially the emotional body as it surges and flows in the new. And you may find, and I know that this is true because since I wrote this, there's been a few instances that have been given to me from other people. You may find some deep and old wounds arising from the emotional body. So some of you may be having experiences of, oh, I'm feeling like this and I have no idea why. I really know that I had dealt with that I've had experiences that have had me in the movement of that energy, and I haven't been triggered, and now I am. And I want to say that it's because this is, again, another layer of depth, another layer of experience, old wounds that are now able to be accessed. And I know it's tedious because we've been going through it over and over and over again, but this is where we're at. We're so on the ends of it. I want to say we're so in the frustration, maybe. So if you are feeling frustrated, I invite you to let that go. But I understand it. It just doesn't serve us. Oh, and here's Carolyn saying she's feeling angry for the last few hours. So that's another example of that. So anger and rage and exhibiting, if you like, some frustration, a lack of patience, all of these kind of wounding expressions, if you like, I feel are common, and it may well be just like Carolyn was saying, because she's been on this journey, and she has a big role to play here, and so this is. I want to thank you, Carolyn, because something that I've written further on here is that, in sort of expressing and declaring and admitting and acknowledging, this is us really coming into our beautiful authenticity, where we don't have to pretend that we're perfect. We don't, because we won't be judged, because we're not judging others. We are accepting that we are in this, honestly, we are just in this evolutionary twirl, and all of us are going to have things that sort of rise up and surprise us from within. So truth and clarity, this is what came. Truth and clarity lead the way here now, in all ways, overtly, individually, and collectively. There's no hiding anywhere for anyone or anything. This could be, and likely will be, very challenging and confrontational. From within, your internal and my internal realizations, and this impacts the external truths and revelations. It's an about turn. It's a redirect to inspired action. So you can see that that's kind of the steps, if you like, this internal arising to become external acknowledgement, you and your authentic truth and clarity. And then you're able to take inspired action to attend to that in such a way that then you come back into the healing of the internal. New creative. So I want to know if you have heard of any of these yet. New creative endeavors. That's what I was shown and told this month. New creative endeavors appear on the world stage. So I think that's likely to show up as some of the hidden technologies, some of the things that have been secreted away, especially, I've already written it. See, I haven't read this until now. So new creative endeavors appear on the world stage, especially related to cleaning up the environment. This will link to higher levels of communication between human and other species on the planet, and that is plant, insect, and animal. So the elementals will assist with dialogue and explanation. I love it how I'm, honestly, sorry, this is a bit egoic, but I love it how I'm just surprised sometimes by what I've written when I come to read it to you. I mean, isn't that delightful? The elementals will assist with this dialogue and explanation. So what that means to me is that, and there'll be some of you who already do this, is that there will be more easy communication between us and the fourth dimensional beings, the fairies, our pets, the other animals, the insects, the goblins, the gnomes, the little elemental deities, and then the big ones as well, the dragons, the Pegasus, the unicorns, all of those. Many will begin. Many will begin. Honestly, it's really, really delightful. And I honestly had forgotten that I'd written this, and it was only yesterday. But hey, if you saw my pile of journals, you'd understand maybe. Many will begin to hear the fairies whisper in the ear. You are invited to call upon them for assistance and explanation. The missions from the giant inner earth crystals have risen another notch. So that's a new elevation. So I think when I first started working with Gaia, I was shown how the giant crystals in the earth were shut down, closed off, deactivated, and a friend of mine who is very connected to the crystals. Her and I did some work on that when I did an Akashic reading for her, and I said, I'm being shown that this is part of your job, is to begin the activation of some of these. They're giants. These crystals are like a geode the size of a big cave. They're huge. Yeah, and so her and I did some work then, which is while I was living here, so maybe 6 years ago. We did some work then with Gaia in activating these huge, huge crystals. Emissions from those, oh yes, so here we go. They've risen another notch and they're creating a new harmonic resonance from the planet itself. So this is another elevation of the planetary vibration and emission of frequency from Earth. I am showing many toddlers will exhibit behaviors that indicate they can hear frequencies when they are outdoors playing. So if you've got toddlers in and around you, just keep an eye out for that. You may see them, this is what I was shown and told, you may see them stop and pause as though listening to something that you are not yet able to hear. We are gearing up for, this is another directional shift, we are gearing up now for community living in our new earth. This begins with a greater coherence with nature and its requirements for healthy living and the biodynamics of our planet. So become more aware of your own interaction with nature, be more mindful and reverent in your interactions. Being present is the best way to initiate this new way. So we're really in this, I know that many of you do this, and we're just being asked to take this to another level, and it requires letting go of the old, and we won't always be able to do it until the old has really done its dash and run out. But it's this idea of being really mindful and present in each moment of each day, and your interaction with yourself as a living, breathing entity, with the earth as a living, breathing entity, and with nature, with the entities, the elementals, with the weather, with the sun, with the moon, with the sky, with the clouds, with all of it, with the water you drink, with the food that you eat, with where you place your hands in the garden, with what you touch. It's being extra still, mindful, reverent in that way. So many of you probably do that, as I do, in parts of my day, but I still need to up level with that. And so that's the invitation here from Gaia. To be more mindful and reverent in your interactions. Being present is the best way. Stop and smell the roses is the useful overarching advice for everyone. Breathe deeply in and out as you unfold your life one step at a time. So it's just pull back, center, breathe, come into your own alignment, come into your own balance. This is, I want to say, a simple thing for many of you to do now, like just in that few seconds, in 1 minute, in 2 minutes, you could do that. You could bring yourself to being present with the breath, in center, in alignment, connected to the heavenly realms, grounded into the center of the planet. Present. So breathe deeply in and out as you unfold your life one step at a time. The rays, the rainbow rays, the colors bring the qualities for expansion. So this is another angle on the colors. So these are the expansion of the new and higher conscious humans, the qualities for expansion of the new and higher conscious humans. Breathe these colors in with intentionality. So Gaia is saying when you see them in the sky, to breathe them in, call in the color and just breathe it in using intentionality. Breathe these colors in with intentionality when you observe them in the sky. Invite them to initiate you to the higher, to imbibe you with the relevant frequencies and qualities. So you can just speak to it. You know, I call upon this gorgeous apricot color in the sky, and I breathe it in, and I ask you to fill my body, and I ask you to activate, bring in the frequencies, the qualities that my body needs and is ready for, from the frequencies, the harmonics, the tones, and the codes from this color. Thank you. Something like that. You can make up something that works for you. Hello, Lauren, and hello, Andrea. Andrea is saying, fast, big fear, and 4 deer walked on foot in front of her truck. Wow. And Lauren's saying that the Mars transit with Uranus will start to affect the divine masculines and the masculine energy, and that the divine feminines, thank you, Lauren, were affected by the Venus square Uranus back on the 3rd. So, yeah, it's very interesting, the sort of finessing that's going on in the divine masculine and divine feminine areas. Okay, where did I get to with this? Yeah, so you are going to ask to be imbibed with the relevant frequencies and qualities from what you observe in the color spectrum in the sky. And this is for your body to house and assimilate these in perfect grace and place. So I saw in the etheric yesterday, so I haven't gone and looked for an image yet, but I will do, but I'll just tell you. So it was lines of what I was showing, they were the twins. So if you imagine divine counterparts, um, yes, that's what I meant when I said twins. So if you imagine a long line of masculine and a long line of feminine, and they're quite close together and they are moving through the etheric in that line, but right above, like just right above my head in that energetic space, they were starting to merge into one line. So I was being shown that the lines of twins moving and forming into one line, one unified line, moving in preparation for union in the physical. This indicates that it's very close, and many will come together in March, April. This happens very quickly as well. Do not get caught up in the human mind of steps and time. That okay, so that was that bit. So I'll just skip along to the next. The internal heat in the body has continued for me and amped up over the weekend. It was honestly, it was like, I'm trying to think what it is that you do with that. Where you, I guess it's a bit like a hangi or an umu. I felt like I had bricks that were heated up inside me. That's how much heat that I was feeling in my body, and it was just like that. Especially in the evening, I noticed it. So it was interesting because that was when it was getting a bit cooler. Yeah, so I ate quite a few frozen fruit, ice blocks fruit. I ate quite a few fruit juice because that's how hot on the inside I was. Okay. And then today. So today, a lot of energy in the body, creating a broad band of streaming energy from the solar plexus upwards to the throat. And what have I written here? Well, anyway, a lot of energy in the body, creating a broad band of streaming energy upward from the solar plexus to the throat. And this speaks of, and okay, pun intended, apparently, This speaks of the support for divulging and speaking feelings, emotions, and experiences held in the power center. There's a continuation of strong internal heating in the body. And today, and so this obviously links, you may become aware of new feelings and new situations, or reminded of old feelings and situations where you were in this, well, in that situation, in that experience, you were working with feelings of being empowered or disempowered. It could be either, but it's very much the kind of energies that we work with that get held in the solar plexus. So that the solar plexus is about the empowerment, the power, and the disempowerment, and the child. So any woundings that come up around that may be making themselves seen. And the recommendation was to look and feel your way through these. Look for the dust and look for the gold, because this is going to come as situations that need clearing, and in also what comes in as your gifts, the talents that you hold that bring you into your greater alignment and power. So both may show up and attend to and dissolve the dust or the debris, the disempowerment, and embrace, honor, and exalt the gifts. So there's some timing around this, these coming in now, and you can deliberately call them in as well. But that's what I was showing. Thank you, Andrea. Oh, and Billy, you've been feeling yuck in your solar plexus today. Okay. Yeah, so just the solar plexus is, I want to say, an easy dialogue. So you might feel things in the back aspect, but not very often. So often when I am looking at the solar plexus, people can have like, it's almost like hooks or anchors or ropes or cords that are placed in the back, and some are placed in the front as well. But the front, if you at the front, the solar plexus chakra, it always shows up to me a bit like a tumble dryer. It's like a big disc that rotates, and it's like a cave. It's like a cave when you go in there. And honestly, when I go in there, it's pretty hilarious. I often see these like bench seats and a bit of a window, and sometimes when I'm doing inner child work with people, it blows me away how clearly what they're, when I am saying I'm seeing your inner child and they're doing blah blah blah, when I'm in the cave, and they say, oh yeah, that's right, that's how I feel. And so I might see this aspect of them sort of hunched over, crunched up, or lying on the ground, or but it's this cavernous. That's how it shows up to me. It's like a giant cave, like an tumble dryer or washing machine tumbler. So if that helps you as a visual, just know that. Debbie's saying, agitated yesterday and today, relentless obsessive thoughts about your DM. Yes. Well, I want to say this whole thing is getting closer, and just see what you can do about shifting the obsessive thoughts into love. So you just kind of put the thoughts over there and just be in the love. So keep asking yourself, where do I require greater balance? And so you can look at that in terms of all of the aspects of your life. It might be physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, social. It might be greater balance between, being inside and being outside, being in nature, being with water, or being with the bush. It might be to do with being in your higher aspect or in your physical. It might be to do with, are you spending too much time dwelling in the past, or are you leaping too forward in the future? All of these aspects are ways that you can envisage yourself coming into greater balance. So just ask your body, ask your higher self to show you, where do I require greater balance? There's also this beautiful streaming that came in today across the higher heart, so across here. And again, that comes with emotion. The higher heart, there's many more are being pulled to their own divinity. This higher love and purpose and mission for being here on the earth at this time. So there's a lot of pull to that. You might feel that pull in a whole lot of different ways, but you might find that your focus is drawn there, that your energy is drawn there, that your thoughts are drawn there. Why are you here? What is your purpose? What is your mission? What do you need to do to come into alignment with that? And I want to say to you that we are so patterned here to have the question and then look for the answer, but you're coming into such alignment with your higher being now that by asking the question and just waiting, and you don't have to sit around and wait, but you just ask the question and just have an expectation that the answer will drop in some way. And what does what does this speak of to you? And more of this gathering is continuing. So this gathering of partnerships, of teams, of groups, of collectives, because we really are in go time in the physical. So just keep checking in with your higher self every day. What is my guidance for today? It'll be subtle or it might not, but I suspect that a lot of it will be subtle, and it will be about you. It will be about what you need to do, observe, be, where you need to place your focus. Remember to keep with the basics. These higher energies coming in can impact us to feel a need to speed up. But in fact, the opposite is true. So you might notice that I am speaking very slowly here. And actually, I'll just tell you this, that often people speak in connection to the way in which they run their brain and their learning. So I'm a very visual person. Visual people speak very quickly because we are often seeing the words before we speak them. And then people who are largely kinesthetic, they are more slow, more deliberate, because they have to feel their way through with the words. And sometimes they have to run that dialogue, honestly, it's really interesting, through their body. I did a course in energy work for a year. I did this part-time course in energy work, and I ended up being buddied up with this man who I think he was probably in his 60s. And I learned so much from watching him, even though I'd been a teacher. I watched him, and he processed in such a slow and deliberate way. It was like watching the energy go in to his brain and down to his fingers, and then, up his arm and down the left side of his body and down his leg and up his leg and down his other leg and up really slow. But he wasn't slow. He was not slow in his mental faculties. He was slow in his processing of them, because he was that kinesthetic. He had to feel his way with what he was speaking. And so, never judge somebody by the speed at which they're speaking. But yeah, visual people, we tend to speak quite quickly. Too quickly was one of the things that I've learned to do, is to slow down a little bit, because not everybody can hear as quickly as I can speak. And then people who are audial, they are processing everything through their hearing. So if there's an interference in the field, in the environment, that can really affect their level of sensitivity is so attuned that it can be something that supports them, or it can be something that totally interferes. Okay, little offshoot there. So, whilst our vibratory rate, our spin rate, and our frequency is all speeding up, the need for more grounding becomes more important. So just remember that. That grounding it in that's what will sort of support your well-being, really, to support the integration. And you know that old Simon and Garfunkel song, da 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 da, feeling groovy, da 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 da. Oh, I found it because I remembered the first part of the lyrics, and now I've written down the title and I can't think of it. But it that those lyrics are pretty appropriate at the moment. I'll just put it in here and find it while I read the last part. Oh, here we are. So listen to this, and you know, if you do this work, you'll have these experiences. But I have these experiences all day, every day with my clients. I get given things, and I have no idea what the real connection is. But I know that there will be one in here. Listen to this. So this was as I'm writing this. Frequency is speeding up. The need for continual grounding becomes more important. Here's the lyrics. Slow down, you move too fast. You got to make the morning last. Just kicking down the cobblestones, looking for fun and feeling groovy. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da, feeling groovy. And then, hello lamppost, what you knowing? I've come to watch your flowers growing. Ain't you got no rhymes for me? Do out and do, feeling groovy. Da-da-da-da-da-da, feeling groovy. I got no deeds to do, no promises to keep. I'm dappled and drowsy and ready to sleep. Let the morning time drop all its petals on me. Life, I love you, all is groovy. And so I don't know about you, but I just feel so touched by those lyrics, and I just love how spirit just drops in those things. Alrighty. So many of you here, and you know, around the world, but I'm speaking to you, are beginning to step more fully into your own aligned higher aspect with feelings of peace and bliss and contentment in your heart, falling more in love with yourself and your life in greater allowance and flow and beingness, becoming, not just becoming, but becoming your amazingly lit up, authentic self. Greater clarity, more truth around you, feeling less hassled. Now, I'm not saying to you that you all need to, or that you do, or feel like this all the time, but we're becoming more like this. So just hook into that you are in the becoming of this beacon of light that you are, influencing and impacting the space around you and living in the moment, excited about what is to come, but focused on all that is good and is fabulous in this now moment, sinking deeply into each moment. And I challenge you to fall more in love with yourself, more and more each day. That's what I have for you today. And it feels to me that we are just, you know, more and more just coming into this centered, balanced, aligned, being with the moment, things unfolding in the perfection of all that is. And so, whilst the beginning of this whole energetic influx that we've had was challenging, and I'm not saying that it's not going to be challenging, but I'm saying that I've noticed that there's a shift. So 3 days ago, more wobble, more disconnect from self, more feeling stretched but not finding it in ease. And now, you know, it's faster, but the energies are faster, but we are becoming more acclimatized. We're becoming these experts at managing them. And it's just that sometimes we have to step up and we have to learn to manage them at a higher level and they're faster. But we are doing it. And honestly, it, to me, there's just this real sense of our, you know, coming to some form of culmination, some form of ascension that we will experience, and that we're likely to have some kind of ascension experience, maybe individually, maybe collectively. But I am feeling that we are building to this and that it is likely to occur by the end of April. And you can, I'm sure that you will agree with me that it's ridiculous that we are in the third month of this year when it feels like we've only been in this year for a couple of weeks. And so this is the effect of this accelerated spin in our molecular structure. So remember that, it's a bit like the washing machine on spin cycle. It's spinning out what isn't required. It's that cleansing, that purification. And so we need to put our own washing powder in, and our own washing powder is the light, the sun, the attitude, what we expose ourselves to with our thoughts, the way we speak to ourselves, and to be really gentle because we are doing something that no one has ever done before. And so put what you need for you, for your well-being, put that as high up the list as you can. I know that if you've got children, sometimes you're not able to do that, but sometimes, they can also wait while you take a breath. And so this is the excitement of this time. We're in this elevation. We're on the cusp. We're on the edge. And more are gathering. And that creates a greater power for the ascension movement moment for the planet. And yeah, this you will know, if you've been around here with me for a long enough time, you'll know that Gaia speaks about 70% of the population ascending, and you can know that there'll be those who ascend through the traditional dying of the physical, and then we'll come back when we're in the higher. That is a genuine pathway, I want to say, for those who are not ready to ascend with the physical body. But this is a really exciting opportunity that many of us have sort of opted for, to ascend, taking the physical body with us. And so I want to say that for you, fall in love with yourself more each day, and then invite your body to align with this as you disidentify with the old. So become very very focused on when the old comes up. So when old ideas present, when old friends present, when old wounding, when old constructs, when you're presented with them from yourself, from your internal or externally, just ask, is this old? Am I going to take this with me into the new, or am I going to let this go? Because that will just help with the sort of sifting through of the process. But really, the old can be disestablished, disconnected as we move into the new, into the higher, into the more authentic, into the truth, into the clarity, and into this faster way of being. And so this is another reason why ascension is so close as well, because we are losing the construct of our three-dimensional time. And when we move into that higher space, we won't be working with time, we'll be working with quantum. But yeah, look after you, make sure that you attend to your physical needs. That's breathing, grounding, connecting to nature, being hydrated, mineralizing yourself through eating lots of good quality fruit and vegetables. And remember to just be in connection with yourself. Go more slowly at the moment. Be more deliberate, more present in the moment. Be grateful to yourself, to your body. Ask your higher self, your mighty I am presence, to bring you the guidance, the perfect information. And you just keep saying, I'm in this becoming in preparation for my own ascension to the fifth dimension. Those sorts of things that you are feeding to yourself. So the language and the thoughts, be particularly observant and just notice, oh no, that's an old thought, that's an old pattern. It's a good time for that, I want to say, just letting go of some of those older threads. All right, so much love to you. Thank you so much for joining me here. I appreciate you so much. I especially appreciate, it's like together we create this really sacred space, I feel. We create a sacred vessel to hold one another. And it's really, really beautiful. And it's really helpful to everybody. And this is this collaborative, collective idea. So yeah, thank you so much. And what was I going to say? There was something else I was going to say about the divine counterparts. So let me see, where are we up to? Okay, hold on, I'll see if I can find it. I think it's back here. Oh, yeah, I said to somebody today, actually, that it feels to me that the divine masculine, they're very together. So they are really sitting in the knowing of what they have to do. So you could see it as, it's a lot like, let's say that the divine masculine lives in Melbourne and knows that he needs to move to Fiji, that's where his divine feminine is, and that it's like he's already handed in his notice, he's already got a job in Fiji, and he's booked his plane ticket. And that's a collective generalization of where I am showing the divine masculine is at. They've not just done the planning, they've actually done some of the physical carrying out of the planning. And so, that's kind of a fit with where they are at. And I want to say that many of them are like gathering their own values, their own they are valuing themselves. They're coming into greater recognition of that. They're seeing themselves more clearly and they are owning it. So they're really stepping into that divine masculine role. Thank you, Rob. Thank you. All right, much love, everybody, and I will see you again soon. Take care.